All right, so now what I'm going to do is show you how to do all of this on the calculator. Some people might find this easier. And we have our same table here. First thing we want to do is put that table in stats. So I click stat and I go to edit. And as you can see here, I've already put in all my values in the table here. So the next thing we want to do is, if we wanted to find standard deviation and the means, you click stat, calc over here, and go to two variable statistics because we have X and we have Y. Enter. So make sure my X is L1, that's what I did. Y is L2, put that in there. And now I'm going to go and calculate that. It's going to give us a lot of information. So what you see here is on the top right here, this is our average, our mean. The little bar, X bar is mean. So the mean for X is 172. This symbol here is the sum. So it's saying the sum of all the X values is this. The sum of all the X values squared is this. And then we have Sx, and then we have, this is baby sigma X, baby sigma. This is big sigma up here, baby sigma. So if you notice in our problem, it said random sample. So we're not doing this experiment on an entire population, just a sample. So our standard deviation for this is going to be Sx. S stands for sample. So this is our sample standard deviation. N is a number of points of data we have. We have 10. So we have 10 heights here. And then we go down to the Y. So the Y, that's the Y bar. Average is 8.9. Scroll down. We have the same information, the sums, and then the standard deviation, SY, sample deviation. That's what we want. Minimum, maximum for X and Y. And we're good for that. Now, for part A here, we want the equation of the regression line. So I'm going to go to stat again, calc. And if you notice, number 4 says linear regression. That's what we want. Press enter. X is L1, Y is L2. That's how we put it in. Oops. L2. And then calculate. So that's our linear regression line. So you see that it matches our line that we got in the spreadsheet. So A, that's our slope, is that. B, A is this, that's our slope. B is our y-intercept right there. But if we scroll down here, they also want us to find a correlation coefficient, which we don't see here. So you might not see it here when you first do it. And if you don't, what you need to do is press mode, then scroll all the way down. It might be on a second screen for you when you keep scrolling. Turn diagnostics on. Go back to stat, do linear regression again. So now I'm going to go to store regression equation. That's what that means. Store rec EQ. Store regression equation. We're going to put that in Y1. So we're going to go to vars, yvars, function, Y1. So what that does is when it makes this regression equation, it's going to automatically put it into Y1 for you so you can graph it. Calculate. So again, we see our regression line again, but now it shows us R squared and R. Same values we got in the spreadsheet. So our R is still moderately positive, and our R squared is showing us that our data is not very reliable. It doesn't really model it really well. So it's not a good prediction model. And if you want to see the actual prediction model graphed, you would have to go to Y equals. You see our equations in there now. But if you notice up here, plot 1, we want a scatter plot. So we turn on that. And just to make sure, if you didn't know how to do that, so second, Y equals, stat plots, I turn that on. And I have type scatter plot. So go back to Y1, or sorry, Y equals. Now, to make sure I have a decent looking graph, I'm going to go to window. And I'm looking at my values here. For X, you see X, it's between 150 and 190, because that's all I care about here. And for Y, it's between 5 and 12. That's all I care about here. So that's what I put in here for Y minimum, Y max, X min, max, max. And I graph that. And so you see that pretty much matches the graph we got in Google Sheets too. So we already have the equation. Now we want to predict the shoe size. So they're saying X, when X is 172 or 162. I can just go to second calc value and type in X is 162 and it'll give me the prediction for Y. Oops, there we go. So again, around 8. So around a shoe size of 8, just like we got in the Google spreadsheet. write down the correlation coefficient. We got that already when we did stat calc linear regression, calculate, and it was 0.681. And then this description of the correlation, it's a moderate positive.